Hello, boys and girls. It is Miss Rebecca. I can't be with you today, but I am going to do the lesson with you. So you have a wonderful sub today, and I expect that you treat them with respect, just like you would me. So let's get going. Today, we are going to be doing a lesson on the Bidwell Mansion. So, as we know, our beautiful Bidwell Mansion burned down. Very sad. And so I thought it'd be kind of nice to honor the mansion by doing a lesson on it. So I'm going to move my little camera. There I am. All right, here we go. So, Bidwell Mansion. Today, we're going to learn about the Bidwells. So that was the husband and wife who had the Bidwell Mansion built, and they really worked hard to establish certain things in Chico. We're going to work with paper collage, kind of. You'll see when we do it. And we're going to, of course, try to earn extra credit. The way that you're going to earn extra credit is that your substitute is going to send me two lists. One list of students who were extra helpful, and they're going to get extra credit. And then a list of students who made the day difficult, and they're going to lose points on their grade on Class Dojo. So hopefully you're not on that list. I'm really excited to see the names of the students who are on the smiley face list. All right, my expectations are that you're going to listen to directions. You're going to be kind to each other, you're going to be kind to yourself, and you're going to be kind to your substitute. You're going to show respect to each other, respect to yourself, and respect to your substitute. And you're going to get in the art zone where you're more focused on your art and not as focused on your friends. All right, so the artist that we're going to look at today is Eric Carl, and he's the one who did the Hungry Hungry Caterpillar. And the way that he did his art was really unique. He would paint paper and then cut it out and collage it on. And so that's what we're going to do. You can see right there that you can see the green right there is painted paper. And so, yeah, I'll go through it with you. Bidwell Mansion, here it is in all its glory. I hope that you guys had a chance to take a tour of it when it was still there. Alrighty, so today we are going to start with our collage paper. And the reason we're doing that is so that when we paint it, we're going to then set our paper to the side, and then we'll continue this video while that dries. That way, when the lecture part is done, your paper's already dry and ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your white paper. You're going to put your name on the back. That's the first step. So we'll leave this up so you can see the steps. You're going to put your name on the back of it. Then you're going to turn your paper landscape, and you're going to paint about 2/3 of it with green. You're going to paint about 1/3 of your paper orange, and you're going to leave some white space in the middle. That's where we're going to add clouds. You're going to use the back of your paintbrush to scrape in some designs. All right, so we are going to get the rest of our paper set up. You are going to glue your blue paper. The blue paper is going to be our art paper today. You're going to glue your blue paper onto the yellow paper. The yellow is our frame. So then flip it over, glue your artist sheet on the back, and then write your name, your teacher's name, and the date on the artist sheet. You should be very familiar with this. We have done this a million times. There should not be questions on how to do this part. And make sure you're doing dot, dot, not a lot. We don't want a lot of glue on this one. Okay, do that now. So now, I know I'm super small and in the middle, but I'm doing that because the subtitles on this, there's no words. I'm going to read it to you, and it's on the top and on the bottom. And that's the only other spot I can put my face and not be in the way. So right now, your paper should be painted green and orange, and it should have the little designs scraped into it, and it should be on the drying rack with your name on the back. And you also should have your blue paper already glued to your yellow paper with the artist sheet on the back totally filled out. Just set that to the side of your desk. And we're going to let those dry while we do the lecture. We're going to start with this video. It's just a brief history of the Bidwell Mansion. And yeah, I'm going to stay in the middle so that I can see the words. Chico founder John Bidwell was born in New York in 1819. A farmer and a teacher, he led an expedition west to California called the Bartleson Bidwell Party. along the California Trail in 1841. Bidwell found a job at Sutter Mill, where gold would be discovered in 1848. That's why people came west to find gold. He purchased land for a ranch and a farm on Big Chico Creek. You guys know where that is.
They say there's a place
The area would later become the city of Chico. During the gold rush, Bidwell built a mining town called Bidwell's Bar to mine gold on the Feather River near present-day Orville. And he became a state senator in 1849. And he was with President Fillmore when he signed California into statehood. So that's cool. He was a successful businessman, and he owned more than 20 different concerns in Chico. That means businesses. He also had political ambitions. He ordered the construction of a grand mansion in 1863. The same year, he became a brigadier general of the California militia during the Civil War. So he was a military man. And in 1865, he became a Republican congressman. And this is where he met his wife, Annie Bidwell. He met her at a party in Washington, D.C., and here's an actual photo of them. He courted her over 2 years. That means they dated for about 2 years. And they married in 1868. The mansion was completed the same year. There it is. Recognize it? It was 3 stories tall and had 26 rooms. Annie's piano displayed in the mansion today was built on the East Coast, and it took 6 months to ship it over by train and wagon to get it to Chico. And the Bidwells had many happy years. Oh man, look. The town of Chico grew. And then John Bidwell died in 1900. Annie donated the mansion to the Chico Presbyterian Church. And they made an agreement. Annie would continue to live in the mansion, provided that she kept it maintained. Which she did, until her death in 1980. The church could not afford to keep it. And so they sold it to the normal school in 1923 to use as a dormitory and office. And in 1956, the Bidwell Mansion Association was formed by concerned citizens. They were worried that it wasn't going to get run down. And they asked the city of Chico and then later the city parks to help preserve them. There's so many antique relics from Bidwell's time and right. Acknowledging the Bidwell's contributions to California history, it was being used as like offices. The mansion became a state park in 1964. That means protected. And then restoration began immediately. See, it was already getting pretty run down. I think that's why people were nervous. And soon the mansion was itself again. After Annie died, they just didn't take as good care of it. She did. And now tours take place on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. This was obviously from years ago, teaching visitors about the California history, the and about what life was like in the 1800s. I hope you guys know. Okay. So we know that there was a fire Horrible, horrible. And this is going to be a little news article about what happened. Very sad.
We are at 6:42. We're getting some breaking news coming in right now. There is a huge fire at the historic Bidwell mansion. Our station in Chico says it started with a call about an illegal burn just after 3 this morning. Wow, look at that. That's really going. We believe it's 5 alarms. The building is engulfed in flames. Crews began immediate defensive operations, but they are not entering the building because officials are fearing this thing could come down. It's unclear how it started or if anybody was inside at the time. Obviously, this is in the very early stages. Was there arson? Was this something else? We'll bring you the latest updates as we learn more. Again, the Bidwell Mansion in Chico looks like it's not going to survive this morning.
All right. And it didn't. No one was hurt. Thank goodness. There wasn't anyone inside. And the individual responsible has been arrested.
We are.
All right. And then we get drone footage of it. This is
around 3 a.m. earlier today, a fire broke out at Bidwell Mansion State Historic Park. It severely damaged the mansion structure. Chico Fire Department responded and worked to save what remains of the historic building you see behind me. The incident is currently under investigation, and California State Parks is working with allied agencies. State Parks is securing the site and assessing the damage as we speak. It was contained to only the mansion and no other buildings on the site. And again, we will provide further details as this investigation unfolds. And we can also provide further details once we assess the building. There was no interior work being performed. However, we were doing major restoration work to the roof, the exterior stucco, the balconies. Unfortunately, the timing of this fire, we were about 2/3 completion into the project. So as part of the restoration project, we made attempts to cover and mask a lot of the collections and furniture in the building just for dust control and protection. I will say approximately 10% of the collections in the mansion were original. The rest of them were either replicas or mock-up displays.
There are lots of artifacts in there and big John Bidwell portrait. And when you looked at it, his eyeballs would never stop looking at you, even though you moved around the room. Makes me feel so sad. And all the other things in there, I know what's in there. I've toured it probably 5 or 6 times. And I love the room up on top.
She loves the room up on top, is what she was saying, the top floor. So here's the artist that we're going to look at today. And we're going to take a little bit of a look at how he makes his art.
Man kann da allerhand Effekte. You get the idea. Dann wird es auf den Boden gelegt, ganz einfach. Und bis es getrocknet ist. I'll just put it here. Und wenn es fertig ist, dann geht's hier rein. Rot, hellrot. Schwarz, weiß und grau. Grüne Farben. I'm into this world and nothing else. Doing those little dots and that's unfolding. I don't know how to put it in words, really. Yeah. My colors are impressionistic, but my work is expressionistic. I don't know if that's true or not, but that comes to my mind occasionally. It puts you in another dimension of life, really. It's almost like prayer to me. I'm completely out of the world when I do my art. when I do my books. And then I come back. I was born in Syracuse. I went to school with Miss Fricky. I don't know what she looked like, but I have such a warm feeling about her. Miss Fricky called it my mother, and my mother, being a good German, expected that I had behaved badly. But when my mother walked down the hallway in the school, there were all these pictures signed by Eric, but she still didn't make a connection that it was her Eric. But then Miss Freaky told her that her little boy was very talented, and my parents have always nurtured that talent.
Okay. What a sweet guy. He's so funny. Obviously, he was speaking some in English and some in German. But the way he does his art is really captivating. It's really organic. He doesn't super plan it out. And you can see those drawers where he just has different colors of painted paper that he's made. It's very cool. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to talk about what does it mean to grieve and why is it important to remember. So pause this video for a second and table talk about that, and then you guys can share out what you talked about. And when you're done with that, we're going to take a look. This is the before, and that's the after. Pretty sad. So the Bidwell Mansion had 26 rooms. It was completed in 1868. So here is a book. It is a local book, so it was written by Nancy Leake, who lives in Chico, and the person who illustrated it lives in Paradise, and it's about the Bidwells. We're just going to listen to a small part of it.
On October 18th, the steamship sailed into San Francisco Bay. Helen Crosby was the first down the gangway with the papers in her hand. California was the 31st state. The people of San Francisco celebrated all night long with bonfires, bands, and booming cannons. Back at Rancho Chico, John Bidwell had big plans. He knew that just about anything would grow in California. He raised cattle, horses, and pigs. He grew wheat, barley, and oats. He soon added grapes and olives. He planted oranges, figs, peaches, cherries, melons, walnuts, and almonds, and much more. With so much going on, he needed plenty of workers. He founded the city of Chico in 1860. He also asked the Machuca Indians to move their village onto his ranch. That way they could work for him, and he could protect them from other settlers who were mistreating the Native Americans of California. Rancho Chico was right on the road to the northern mines. Many of the gold seekers stopped overnight at his house. In the morning, John fed them breakfast. John's Indian cook, Nopani, made delicious pancakes from dried, ground up grasshoppers. The travelers were surprised, but they said the pancakes were tasty. John was active in politics and hoped that someday he could be the governor of California. When he looked at his old adobe house, he thought, it's not good enough for the governor. In 1865, he started building his new home, a 3-story mansion. Then he left for Washington, D.C. to serve in the U.S. Congress. In Washington, he met his future wife, Miss Annie Kennedy.
All right. We're going to stop there. So it's kind of cool that we have like a book about them written by local people. Okay, so now we are going to get moving again on our art project. You're going to make sure your space is all cleaned up. You should still have your art paper in the frame and everything. There are two options for you for the Bidwell Mansion. They are printed on pink paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick whichever one you want, just pick one, and you're going to go over the black lines of the printed paper with Sharpie. Because it's really obvious when something is printed and we want it to look like it was hand done, essentially. So you basically get to trace it, which is a fine thing to do occasionally as an artist, as long as you're doing other things that are, authentically originally yours, which we are in this piece. So you're going to pause the video in a moment, and you're going to pick your Bidwell Mansion and trace over it with Sharpie. Some of them do have little details, so you might want to use the thin Sharpie for those, but most of it needs to be done with the thick Sharpie. Okay? Like literally, almost all of it should be thick Sharpie. Okay, maybe just the little lines inside the windows. All right, do that now. Okay, and by now your paper should be dry. So you're gonna go and pause this video in a moment. You're gonna hand out and get your paper that you painted. Once you do, you're going to take a pencil and you are going to draw a couple things. So in the orange, you're going to draw a circle and then a bunch of really thin rectangles. In the green, you're going to cut out either leaves or grass or shrubs. And in the white part, you're going to cut out clouds. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to cut out your Bidwell Mansion. Okay, so now you're going to lay out all of your little pieces and you're going to see how they fit onto your blue paper. So move them around, mess with them a little bit, see what looks good on top. Like you might want to have the Bidwell Mansion on top of the bushes, or you might want the bushes on top. It depends on the order that you put it in. And then when we're gluing it together, you have to glue it back to front. That means that the background gets glued first. So, for example, if I want the Bidwell Mansion in front of the bushes, I need to glue the bushes first, and then I'll glue my Bidwell Mansion on top. So, back to front is how we're going to glue everything. But take a minute and rearrange it and see what looks best before you do that. Here are some student examples that you can look at while you work. You can pause here, keep them up while you guys are cutting and gluing.